Hey everybody, my name is Curtis, and we're back with the next installment of the Power Rankings 2017 for the NFL season. And today we're going to be talking about the Buffalo Bills. And a big question is whether they're going to be competitive. And I think they'll be competitive in a lot of their games, but I don't think they're going to win very many because looking at their roster, they have some good pieces, but they're they're one of those teams that doesn't look great on paper, and it looks like they're going to have some struggles. So let's start with the dead position, and that will be the wide receiver position. They've gotten rid of Sammy Watkins and Robert Woods over the past couple of years, so they've really hurt their abilities in this receiver position. They have Jordan Matthews, who's an average receiver at best, and they do have Corey Brown, who will be good, but it's going to be a struggle at the wide receiver position. They don't have very much for talent, and it's very thin. They might have one or two because we don't even know how good Corey Brown's going to be. Now, moving on from the wide receiver position, the deep sleep position is the wide receiver position, or not the wide receiver position, my bad, the quarterback position with Tyrod Taylor. So Tyrod Taylor's in a pretty interesting situation. He's super fast. He has a great arm, but he's just not a great quarterback. He puts up numbers and he has put up numbers, but he's never going to be the guy to lead a team to a Super Bowl, which is kind of unfortunate because you can see the talent in him, but he's just never going to be that type of quarterback. So he could have a breakout year, but I don't. The likelihood of that is pretty low. Now, who I do see having another breakout year is LeSean McCoy. So he's been a superstar in the NFL for a couple years, but he was great last year, but he barely even got noticed. His best years were in Philadelphia, and ever since he left, it's been kind of like he's been the ignored running back in the league. And he's still an elite running back, and he puts up numbers. So I see him breaking back into the league and really making a difference because he's been forgotten, but I think this year he'll really be remembered as one of the top tier running backs. Now, moving on to Woke, and the Woke position is the D line. Now, their D line is so talented. Their first round pick was on Shaq Lawson, who's gonna be an elite defensive lineman from what I've seen their left end. And not only that, but they also have Jerry Hughes, who he did struggle last year, but in the prior years he'd been super good, and I'm looking for him to have a huge bounce back. So they're gonna have really good ends. But not only that, but they have super good D tackles. They have Marcel Darius, who, if he stays out of trouble, is a Pro Bowl player. And they also have Kyle Williams, who, despite getting old, is still a really good player. So I see their D line being a huge strength this year. And they're going to give the offensive lines fits. They're just going to give them fits. Now, moving on to the schedule, we have the one-on-one game of the year, and that's going to be October 1st against the Falcons. And this is very interesting because they have Marcel Darius against Alex Mack. That's going to be a great matchup to watch because Alex Mack is one of the top centers in the league, and seeing him go up against one of the top defensive tackles in Marcel Darius is going to be that's going to be an intriguing matchup. It's hard to say that a defensive lineman versus an offensive lineman is an intriguing matchup, but that one really is. I don't think the game will necessarily be that close because the Falcons are going to be super good, but that's a super good matchup. Now, the what to watch for game is September 17th against the Carolina Panthers. And this game's going to be super close because, like, looking at the Bills, if we go back to their defense, they have a very strong defense. They do have a couple good linemen. They have Lorenzo Alexander, and then they have Micah Hyde, who came over from the Packers. And they're going to have a pretty solid defense, and I've already talked about the defensive line. So I want to see them going up against not a great offense in the Panthers, but a newly invigorated offense with Cam Newton coming back off an injury, and then Christian McCaffrey is their top draft pick. That's going to be a great game to watch, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, moving on to the turn-off game, it's going to be 2 games this year, and it's going to be the Patriots on December 3rd and the Patriots on Christmas Eve, December 24th. These games are just going to be terrible. Like, The Bills against the Patriots are, in general, pretty bad games, but this year the Patriots are just going to be one of the best teams in the league, and it's just not going to be fun to watch those games because they won't have a chance at stopping the Patriots or, matter of fact, scoring on them because the Patriots are just so solid this year. So, moving on to their final record, I actually see them being not bad this year. I do see them with a losing record. I see them at 5-11. I see them beating the Jets twice, here and here, on September 10th and November 2nd. And then I also see them beating the Dolphins in one of their two meetings. And then beating the Chargers. And then finally winning one of the three games against the Bengals, the Panthers, or the Saints. So those are going to be all going to be really close games. I see them getting one of three to end their season at 5-11. Not great by any means, but still they'll be competitive, and that's what's important. They're not going to win many, but there'll be games that there won't be many games not worth watching because they'll be close in a lot of them. Now I'll be coming out with another episode today around noon, I think, maybe between noon and 2, and be looking out for that. And peace.